But every now and then, moments of pure respect and sportsmanship restore our faith in martial arts. Here are 10 of the best displays of sportsmanship and fair play in MMA. Let's start with the man who let his sense of honor get in the way of becoming a champion, Anthony Smith. A true veteran with nearly 60 fights under his belt, Lionheart had to fight tooth and nail to make it to the top. After grinding for years on the regional circuit, he finally got his shot in the UFC, and Smith didn't waste the opportunity, tearing through 7 of his first 8 opponents and earning his chance to face Jon Jones for the light heavyweight title, which he came heartbreakingly close to claiming. But fair play got in his way. From the start of their UFC 235 title fight, Jones was in control as he outclassed Smith. But in the 4th round, the champ threw an illegal knee that gave Smith a rare opportunity to win the title by disqualification. All Smith had to do was take the Aljamain Sterling route and say that he couldn't continue, and the belt would have been his. Instead, Smith chose the high road, opting to continue and ultimately lose by way of decision. After the fight, Smith explained his decision by saying that knowing Jones had dominated him, winning the belt that way just wouldn't have felt right. Fighting your rival is one thing, but fighting your best friend is a different level of heartache. And that is exactly what Lyoto Machida dealt with when he faced Mark Munoz. Machida and Munoz were close training partners when they fought in 2013. In fact, they had trained together just days before the matchup was scheduled, with Machida having to step in as a last-minute replacement after Munoz's opponent pulled out. The fight itself was lackluster, given the fact that neither fighter wanted to draw first blood, but with the crowd growing restless as they circled each other cautiously, Machida slow to intervene. Machida could have followed up with strikes to finish the fight. Instead, he showed incredible restraint, knowing that Munoz was already out cold. Machida backed off, bowed in respect, and knelt beside his fallen friend, even holding his hand in one of the most touching gestures of fair play inside the unforgiving walls of the octagon. MMA is already brutal, but when referees make mistakes, things can get even messier, unless you're as cool and composed as Robbie Lawler. In 2019, Lawler welcomed Ben Askren to the octagon with a thunderous slam and brutal ground and pound, but the funky one was somehow able to survive the onslaught and come back strong, locking in a bulldog that seemed tight. Lawler wasn't in trouble, but at one point his arm went limp for a split second, and Herb Dean immediately stepped in to halt the action. Lawler wasn't amused, but while most fighters would have exploded in frustration, he accepted the referee's decision with a smile, showing the poise and sportsmanship of a true champion. Like Robbie Lawler, Nick Diaz is a certified badass inside the cage, but he's also a true martial artist who respects anyone brave enough to step inside the cage, even if they're a blood rival like Frank Shamrock. Heading into their Strikeforce showdown of Titans in 2009, there was a lot of bad blood between Diaz and Shamrock since the Stockton native tossed a ton of insults Shamrock's way in the lead-up to the fight, even going as far as undermining his MMA accomplishments. Inside the cage, Diaz followed his trash talk with a dominant performance, as he outclassed Shamrock with his superior boxing, dropping him with a brutal hook to the body and pounded his way to victory. But once the fight ended, Diaz did a complete 180-degree turn, helping Shamrock to his feet and offering words of encouragement. To quote, here's what Diaz said: "Get up, you're the effing legend. I'm sorry for all that shit I talked. You've got to forgive me." Former UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov is a prime example of dominance mixed with compassion, as he destroyed his foes but often chose the least harmful way to secure victory. In 2016, for instance, Khabib beat Michael Johnson from pillar to post, and even told him mid-fight to surrender as he rained down punches. But when Johnson refused to quit, Khabib opted for a Kimura, twisting it just enough to force a tap without inflicting lasting damage. Afterward, Khabib explained that he avoided fully twisting Johnson's arm, knowing it would never heal the same if it broke. A similar scenario played out in his final title defense against Justin Gaethje, when Khabib abandoned an armbar for a triangle choke, because he was concerned Gaethje wouldn't tap. Khabib's decision was driven by empathy, as Gaethje's parents were watching from the cage side. The Eagle later revealed that he chose to put Gaethje to sleep rather than risk breaking his arm, respecting his opponent and sparing his family unnecessary heartbreak. Donald Cerrone is a true legend and a real OG of the sport, a guy who knows how to humble cocky fighters and show respect to the good ones, and his cowboy persona came through in full force when he faced Madeiros in 2018. The mutual respect between these two was clear from the start and carried through every moment of their fight. Before the weigh-ins, Madeiros gifted Cerrone a Hawaiian cowboy hat, and Cowboy returned the favor inside the cage when Madeiros lost his balance after a combo and ended up on his back. Cerrone could have jumped on the opportunity and attacked, but he recognized Madeiros had slipped and backed off, allowing him to recover and get back on his feet. What followed was one of the most thrilling rounds in MMA, with both fighters putting on a show for the ages for the fans, with Cerrone eventually scoring a TKO to finish the fight. After their battle, Madeiros went outside the cage to hug Cerrone's grandmother, who kissed him on the cheek. Now, Arkadiusz Wroblewski versus Pata Chapolia may not have been a high-profile matchup, but it certainly gave us one of the most memorable moments of sportsmanship in MMA. During their 2016 clash, Wroblewski dislocated his left shoulder while throwing a punch. Pata immediately noticed the injury, and recognizing the seriousness of the situation, he backed away before the referee even noticed. As the officials scrambled to figure out how to handle the injury, Pata walked over to Wroblewski and helped him pop his shoulder back into place. The two touched gloves and the fight resumed, and later in the round, Pata went on to knock out Wroblewski. The lower leagues are where true gems often shine, and Mike Pantanko versus Jeremy Razor was a perfect example, where the leading fighter tapped out of concern for his opponent. Razor stepped in as a late replacement for Pantanko on just 4 hours' notice, showing his heart from the moment the bell rang. He was game from the start, but Pantanko was a step ahead, landing clean, powerful shots as the fight went on. Razor got rocked badly a few times but kept pushing forward, never backing down. But as the fight went deeper, Pantanko realized that Razor was taking far more punishment than he should. Seeing that the referee wasn't stepping in to stop the fight, Pantanko made a bold decision of dropping to a knee and tapping on the canvas, effectively ending the fight to protect Razor from any further damage. Mike may have lost the fight, but he won a ton of hearts that night, just like Jonathan Ivey. Jonathan Ivey's fight with Travis Fulton was unforgettable for many reasons. For starters, both fighters were in their 40s, with a combined 396 fights between them. Even more surreal was the fact that Ivey was such a fan of Fulton that he had the veteran's face tattooed on his leg. The fight itself was a spectacle, as at one point, Ivey faked a heart attack to catch Fulton off guard, landing a sneaky punch moments later that dropped the veteran fighter. Ivey then followed it up with brutal ground and pound before suddenly stopping, stepping back, and tapping out on the canvas because he didn't want to hurt his hero anymore. I am sure Ivey likely didn't lose any sleep over landing those extra punches, especially considering the revelations about Fulton's involvement in child abuse and child pornography that surfaced later. Like Pantanko and Ivey, Bakhtiar Arzumanov set a new standard for sportsmanship in his 2011 M1 clash with Yuri Gamulli, going above and beyond after securing a first-round victory via triangle choke. The fight was quick, but what followed left a lasting impression. When Gamulli went unconscious, Arzumanov didn't leap into a celebratory frenzy like many might after a swift finish. Instead, he immediately turned his attention to his fallen opponent as he carefully rolled Gamulli onto his back, removed his mouthpiece, and cradled his head to ensure he could breathe as he regained consciousness. Once Gamulli regained his consciousness, Arzumanov helped him to his feet and offered a heartfelt hug. So these were the top-tier moments of sportsmanship and fair play in mixed martial arts. Which moment was your favorite? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.